उदीचीं प्रविवेशाशां गतपूर्वां महात्मभिः यदि ब्रह्मपरं ज्ञानं ध्यायन् नावर्तेत यतो गतः. So 15th chapter, 44th verse. Udichim, the northern side, Pravivesha Assam, those who wanted to enter there, Gata Purvam, the path accepted by his forefathers, Maha Atmibihi, by the broad-minded, Hridi, within the heart, Brahma, the supreme, Param, Godhead, Dhyayan, constantly thinking of, and then na avartena, passed his days, yataha wherever gataha went. So then Yudhishthir Maharaj, in the previous verse, we saw that how he dressed in torn clothing, gave up all solid foods, voluntarily became dumb, and let his hairs hang loose. He's looking like a madman. And now he started towards the north. And in this way, he accepted the path which his forefathers took. And then he completely was absorbed in the thought of Lord. And in this way, he lived in this way wherever he went. So this is how he took up renunciation. Okay. Shlok number 44, chapter 15. Krishna Priya Mataji, you read.
Hare Krishna Dandat Pranam Mataji. Udichim Previvesasham Gatapurva Mahatmabhihi Urudhi Brahma Param Jhaya Navarteta Yato Gataha. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Then he started towards the north, treading the path accepted by his forefathers and great men, to devote himself completely to the thought of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And he lived in that way wherever he went. Purport. It is understood from this verse that Maharaja Yudhishthira followed in the footsteps of his fathers and the great devotees of the Lord. We have discussed many times before that the system of Varnashrama Dharma, as it was strictly followed by the inhabitants of the world, specifically by those who inhabited the Aryavarta province of the world, emphasizes the importance of leaving all household connections at a certain stage of life. The training and education was so imparted, and thus a respectable person like Maharaja Yudhishthira had to leave all family connection to self-realization and going back to Godhead. No king or respectable gentleman would continue family life till the end, because that was considered suicidal and against the interest of the perfection of human life. In order to be free from all family encumbrances and devote himself 100% in the devotional service of Lord Krishna, this system is always reconnected for everyone because it is the path of authority. The Lord instructs in the Bhagavad Gita 18.6.2 that one must become a devotee of the Lord at least at the last stage of one's life. A sincere soul of the Lord like Maharaja Yudhishthira must abide by this instruction of the Lord for his own interest. The specific words Brahma Param indicates Lord Sri Krishna. This is incorporated in the Bhagavad Gita 10.1.3 by Arjuna with reference to great authorities like Asita, Devala, Narada, and Vyasa. Thus, Maharaja Yudhishthira, while leaving home for the north, constantly remembered Lord Sri Krishna within himself, following the footsteps of these forefathers as well as the great devotees of all times. Hare Krishna.
10.62 says, तमेव शरणं गच्छ सर्वभावेन भारत तत्प्रसादात् परं शान्तिं स्थानं प्राप्स्यसि शाश्वतम्. So one has to surrender unto him utterly. Then he can attain transcendental peace and the Supreme Lord. So according to Varnashrama, when your duties are over, one should take up to Vanaprastha. So where to go? So that is why the Vanaprastha for this yuga is take up to the study of Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, reside with the devotees. That means have association of devotees. That means be away from materialistic life. The more we are from materialistic life, that is Vanaprastha. That is to think of it. It's not just a ritual to go to the forest. It is the custom that one has to chant the holy name, and think of him. How can we think of him? By hearing about him. The more we hear about him, the more we can think about him. Sarve tamanuni jagmul bhratrah कृत निश्चयः कलीना धर्ममित्रेण दृष्ट्वा स्पृष्ट्वा प्रजाभूतिः. So then Sarve, all his younger brothers, from him, Anunir Jagmu, they also left home by following the elder. Bhratra, all these brothers, Krutanishchaya, they also decided. Kalina, the age of Kali, Adharma, principles of religion. Mitrena, by the friend, Drishtva, observing. Sprishtha, having overtaken. Prajaha, all citizens, Bhuvi, on the earth. So the younger brothers of Maharaj Yudhishthir observed that the age of Kali had already arrived throughout the world, and that the citizens of the kingdom were already affected by irreligious practice. Therefore, they decided to follow in the footsteps of their elder brother. So they took up the path which their elder brother has taken. So they also decided to go towards north and give up the kingdom. Because already Kali has arrived. So one may question why they cannot check the Kali. They are administrators, that means they should rule and they should drive away the Kali. There are certain things which is not in our control. There is a will of providence.
Mataji, why only north side? Any specific reason?
Padrika Ashram. And above that you have the more Himalayan ranges, that is why. The more ranges there. Padrika Ashram, their Swargarohan place is there, which is more, it is said there is a direct step towards Swarga from there. So one may say why they did not continue as a king. They want to give this responsibility to their youngsters. They established Dharma, everything okay, and they settled everything. Now the next is to give the responsibility to the youngsters. Because as and when the age grows, your strength also diminishes. So we cannot just think that I have a lot of strength, let me utilize this strength, let me again have a war. No, you cannot do that. So when then the person will think of Lord, that is why they give this responsibility to their youngsters. So Parikshit Maharaj is well qualified and they have trained him also. Yudhishthir Maharaj has trained Parikshit Maharaj. That is why he gave this responsibility. Okay. Vimala, can you read?
Hare Krishna Mataji. Sarve tamuni nirjagam dhapira ritanishya kalinadha mitrena drashta sabsta prajabhuvi. Translation. The younger brothers of Maharaj Yudhishthir observed that the age of Kali had already arrived throughout the world and that the citizens of the kingdom were already affected by irreligious practice. Therefore, they decided to follow in the footsteps of their elder brother. Purport. The younger brothers of Maharaj Yudhishthir were already obedient followers of the great emperor, and they had sufficiently been trained to know the ultimate goal of life. They, therefore, decidedly followed their eldest brother in rendering devotional service to Lord Krishna. According to the principles of Sanatan Dharma, one must retire from family life after half the duration of life is finished and must engage himself in self realization. But the question of engaging oneself is not always decided. Sometimes retired men are bewildered about how to engage themselves for the last days of life. Here is a decision by authorities like the Pandavas. All of them engage themselves in favorably culturing the devotional service of the Lord Sri Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. According to Swami Sridhara, Dharma, Arth, Kam, and Moksha, or 40 activities, philosophical speculation and salvation, as conceived by the several persons, are not the ultimate goal of life. They are more or less practiced by persons who have no information of the ultimate goal of life. The ultimate goal of life is already indicated by the Lord Himself in Bhagavad Gita 18.64, and the Pandavas were intelligent enough to follow it without hesitation. Hare Krishna.
ये साधुकृत सर्वर्थ ज्ञात्वात्यन्तिकम् आत्मनः मनसा धारयाम् आसु वैकुण्ठचरणाम्बुजम् ते साधुकृत. So they perform the activities sarva artha, which are all having meaning. They know it very well. And atyantikam, the ultimate atmanah, the living entities, manasa within the mind, dharayam asu, who sustain vaikuntha charanambujam. So what activities they perform that were worthy of a saint? So they perform the religious principles, the principles of religion. They perform all the principles of religion, and as a result, rightly decided that the lotus feet of the Lord are the supreme goal of life. Therefore, they meditated upon His feet without interruption, because they followed dharma. Dharmas to sakshat bhagavat pranitam. That is why Krishna was in their side. Krishna took the side of the Pandavas because they were performing all the principles of religion. Activities are based on the principles of religion. That is why Lord is with them, and that is how they took up the goal of life. And what is the goal of life? To attain the lotus feet of Lord. And they meditated upon Him without interruption. Manasa dharayam asu Vaikuntha charanambujam. In this way, they continuously meditated on the lotus feet of Lord. Okay. Ashok Kaneja Prabhu, please read.
हरे कृष्णा माता जी दंडवत प्रणाम। ते साधु कृत सर्वा अर्था ज्ञात्वा अत्यंतिकम आत्मनः मनसा धार्यम असुर्वैकुंठ चरणा अंबुजम। Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. They all had performed all the principles of religion, and as a result, rightly decided that the lotus feet of the Lord Shri Krishna are the supreme goal of all. Therefore, they meditated upon his feet without interest. Purport. In the Bhagavad Gita 7.28, the Lord says that only those who have done pious deeds in the previous lives and have become freed from the results of all impious acts can concentrate upon the lotus feet of Supreme Lord Shri Krishna. The Pandavas, not only in this life but also in their previous lives, had always performed the supreme pious work, and thus they are ever free from all reactions of impious work. It is quite reasonable, therefore, that they concentrated their minds upon the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna. According to Shri Vishwanath Chakravarti, Dharma, Artha, Kama, and Moksha principles are accepted by persons who are not free from the results of impious action. Such persons affected with contaminations of the above four principles cannot at once accept the lotus feet of the Lord in the spiritual sky. The Vaikuntha world is situated far beyond the material sky. The material sky is under the management of Durga Devi or the material energy of the Lord, but the Vaikuntha world is managed by the personal energy of the Lord. Hare.
Okay. Now, what abode they got? They went towards the north. What is the gati? They concentrate, they without interruption, they were just meditating on the Lord. Tyathano driktaya bhaktya vishuddha dishana pare tasmin narayana pade ekanta matayo gatim avapur duravapam te asadbhir vishayatmabhi vidhuta kalmashastanam विरजेन मनैव हि विरजेनात्मनैव हि. Okay. So tad dhyana, positive meditation on that person, that is on Krishna. Utkritya, freed from, they became freed from because of positive meditation. So here freed from is given. Then afterwards it comes from material passion and all. Bhaktya vishuddha dishanaha. By their intelligence, they took up pure devotional service. Their intelligence also got purified by a devotional attitude. Pare, in this way, they completely concentrated onto Narayana Pade, onto the lotus feet of Lord, and how they were Ekanta Mataya. They were one pointed. Gatim, there is a destination of Apu, they attained. Durvapam, which is very difficult to attain. They by them, Asadbihi, very difficult to be attained by the materialistic people. Vishayatmibihi, because they are absorbed in the material needs. There's a Vidhuta, watched off. Kalmashaha, material contamination. Sthanam, abode. Virjena, without material passion. Atmana eva, by the self same body, he certainly. With the same body, they attained Lord's abode. Just see. What a fortune they have. That means they are eternal associates of Lord. That is why they went with the same body. Or generally, the person changes the body. They leave the body. But because they are eternal associates of Lord, they went with the same body. Okay, they did not give up the body. They went with the same body. Okay, Kusum, can you read?
Hare Krishna Mataji, Nandratana.
Please.
तद्ध्यानोद्रिक्तया भक्त्या विशुद्धादिशना परे तस्मिन् नारायणापदे एकान्तमतयो गतिम् अवापुर्दुरवापां ते असद्भिर्विषयात्मभिः विधूता कल्मषास्तानम् विरजेनात्मनैव हि. Translation purport by Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thus, by pure consciousness, due to constant devotional remembrance, they attain the spiritual sky, which is ruled over by the Supreme Narayana, Lord Krishna. This is attained only by those who meditate upon the one Supreme Lord without deviation. This abode of the Lord Sri Krishna, known as Goloka Vrindavana, cannot be attained by persons who are absorbed in the material conception of life. But the Pandavas, being completely washed off all material contamination, attained that abode in their very same bodies. Purport. According to Srila Jiva Goswami, a person freed from the three modes of material qualities, namely goodness, passion, and ignorance, and situated in transcendence, can reach the highest perfection of life without change of body. Srila Sanatan Goswami, in his Hari Bhakta Vilas, says that a person, whatever he may be, can attain the perfection of a twice born Brahmana by undergoing the spiritual disciplinary actions under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master, exactly as a chemist can turn gunmetal into gold by chemical manipulation. It is therefore the actual guidance that matters in the process of becoming a Brahmana, even without change of body, or going back to Godhead without change of body. Srila Jiva Goswami remarks that the word he used in this connection positively affirms this truth, and there is no doubt about this factual position. The Bhagavad Gita 14.26 also affirms this statement of Srila Jiva Goswami, and the Lord says that anyone who executes devotional service systematically without deviation can attain the perfection of Brahman by surpassing the contamination of the three modes of material nature, and when the Brahman perfection is still more advanced by the self same execution of devotional service, there is no doubt at all that one can attain the supreme spiritual planet Golok Vrindavan without change of body, as we have already discussed in connection with the Lord's returning to his abode without a change of body. Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you.
Even Lord did not change the body. Now these Pandavas also did not change the body. But what happened to Vidura? Viduropi parityajya prabhase dehamatmanah कृष्णावेशेन तच्चित्तः पितृभिः स्वक्षयम्. Yayau Vidura is uncle of Maharaj Yudhishthira. Api also Parityajya, he also after quitting the body, Prabhase in the place of pilgrimage or at Prabhasa. So he left the body there. Dehamatmanah Krishna Aveshena. He was completely he was absorbed in the thought of Krishna. Tattachittaha, his actions and thoughts were completely absorbed. Pitrubhihi, he went to the abode of Pitruloka, Swakshayam, his own abode, Yayav departed. So now Vidura, he left the body in Prabhashetra and he went to Pitruloka. Now the question arises, how is it that even he is absorbed in the thought of Lord, he should also get Golok Dham. Why is it that he went to Pitruloka? Because it is his own abode. He is Yamaraj. Who is Vidura? He is Yamaraj also. And he is in charge of Pitruloka. That is how the Pitrus, they get the next life. What type of body depends on their karmas. He is the one who is taking charge of administration. So Devi Devatas are also completely absorbed in the thought of Krishna. Ashok Vasandani Prabhu, please read. Vasandani Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Mataji, thanks for the service.
Read.
Viduro api parityajya prabhase deham atmanah Krishna veshena tacchitta pitrabhi swakashyam yayu. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Vidura, while on pilgrimage, left his body at Prabhas because he was absorbed in thought of Krishna. He was received by the denizens of Patraloka planet, where he returned to his original post. Purport. The difference between the Pandavas and Vidura is that the Pandavas are eternal associates of Lord, the personality of Godhead, whereas Vidura is one of the administrative demigods in charge of the Pritaloka planet and is known as Yamaraj. Men are afraid of Yamaraj because it is he only who awards punishment to the miscreants of the material world. But those who are devotees of Lord have nothing to fear from him. To the devotees, he is cordial friend, but to the non-devotees, he is fear personified. As we have already discussed, it is understood that Yamaraj was cursed by Manduka Muni in the degraded as a Shudra, to be degraded as a Shudra. And therefore, Vidura was an incarnation of Yamaraj. As an eternal servitor of the Lord, he displayed his devotional activities very ardently and lived a life of pious man. So much so that a materialistic man like Dhritarashtra also got salvation by his instructions. So, by his pious activities in the devotional service of the Lord, he was able to always remember the lotus feet of the Lord, and thus he became washed of all contamination of a Shudra born life. At the end, he was again received by the denizens of Pitraloka and posted in his original position. The demigods are also associates of Lord without personal touch, whereas the direct associates of Lord are in constant personal touch with him. The Lord and his personal association incarnate in many universes without cessation. The Lord remembers them all, whereas the associates forget due to their being very minute parts and parcels of the Lord. They are apt to forget such incidents due to being infinitesimally small. This is corroborated in Bhagavad Gita 4.5. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Okay. So Vidura is actually not a Shudra, but his incarnation of Yamaraj. He's one of the Mahajanas. But just because Manduka Rishi Muni cursed him, he became Shudra. In first Canto, 13th chapter, first verse, we have this. Lord has Sutta Goswami says, by traveling on a pilgrimage, Vidura received the knowledge of destination of the self from the great sage Maitreya. Then returned to Hastinapur. He became as well versed in the subject as he desired. So he is a prominent figure. He is incarnation of Yamaraj. It is cursed by Manduka Muni. So the story is like that. It is there in 1.13.1, 13th chapter. Once upon a time, the state police caught some thieves who had concealed themselves in the hermitage of Manduka Muni. The police constable, as usual, arrested all the thieves, and Manduka Muni also. The magistrates specifically punished the Muni to death by being pierced by a lance. When he was just to be pierced, the news reached the king, and he at once stopped the act on consideration of his being a great Muni. The king personally begged the Muni's pardon for the mistake of his men. The saint at once. Wait, I'm reading from somewhere. It ran up. Wait. Yeah. It is there in the. Okay. So now. Wait. I was reading very nicely where it went. The saint at once went to Yamaraj, who prescribed the destiny of living beings. Yamaraj, being questioned by the Muni, replied, Muni in his childhood pierced an ant with a sharpened straw. For that reason, he was put into difficulty. The Muni thought it unwise on the part of Yamaraj that he was punished for his childish innocence, and thus he cursed Yamaraj. And this way, Yamaraj became Vidura, the Shudra brother of Dhritarashtra and Maharaj Pandu. So he was equally treated like Bhishma Pitama and all these things as been given. Okay. Next. What is Draupadi's Gati? Let us see. Draupadi cha tadagyaya patina vasudeve bhagavati matirapatam Draupadi cha and tada at that time agyaya knowing Krishna fully well, patina of the husbands, anapekshata, who did not care for her, Vasudeva unto the Lord Vasudeva, Bhagavati, the personality of God. He exactly ekanta, absolutely mati concentration, apa God, tam him the Lord. Draupadi also saw that her husbands, without caring for her, were leaving home. She knew well about Lord Vasudeva, Krishna, the personality of Godhead. Both she and Subhadra became absorbed in thoughts of Krishna and attained the same results as her husbands. So, wife of Arjuna is Subhadra. Draupadi is also one of the wife. Is she the wife of all the Pandavas? Now she sees, oh, my husbands have gone without carrying me. So what they did, they just went and they just sat and concentrated on the Lord, and they also attained the same result what um, what their husbands got. Here, Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur suggests that both Draupadi and Subhadra, although her name is not mentioned here, got the same result. None of them had to quit the body. So without quitting the body, they went with the same body to the eternal abode. So Narayana, can you read?
Yes, Mataji. द्रौपदी च तदाज्ञाय पतिनाम् अनपेक्षताम् वासुदेवे भगवती यज् एकान्तमतिर् आपतम्. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation. Draupadi also saw that her husbands, without caring for her, were leaving home. She knew well about Lord Vasudev, Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Both she and Subhadra became absorbed in the thoughts of Krishna and attained the same result as their husbands. When flying an airplane, one cannot take care of other planes. Everyone has to take care of his own plane. And if there is any danger, no other plane can help another in that condition. Similarly, at the end of life, when one has to go back home, back to Godhead, everyone has to take care of himself without help rendered by others. The help is, however, offered on the ground before flying in space. Similarly, the spiritual master, the father, the mother, the relatives, the husband, and others can all render help during one's lifetime, but while crossing the sea, one has to take care of himself and utilize the instructions formerly received. Draupadi had 5 husbands, and no one asked Draupadi to come. Draupadi had to take care of herself without waiting for her husbands. And because she was already trained, she at once took to the concentration upon the feet of Lord Vasudev, Krishna, the personality of Godhead. The wives also got the same result as their husbands. In the same manner, that is to say, without changing their bodies, they reached the destination of Godhead. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur suggests that both Draupadi and Subhadra, although her name is not mentioned herein, got the same result. None of them had to quit their bodies. Hare Krishna.
Last verse. Yashadvayetat bhagavat priyanam pando sutanamiti samprayanam shunotyalam swastyayaram pavitram labdva haro bhaktim upaiti siddhim. Yah shraddhayaitat bhagavat priyanam pando sutanam iti samprayanam shunotyalam swasyayaram pavitram labdva bhaktim upaiti siddhim. Yah, anyone who shraddhaya, with devotion, etat is bhagavat priyana, of those who are very dear to the personality of God. Pandu, of Pandu, Sutanam, of the sons, it is thus. Samprayanam, departure for the ultimate good. Shunoti, hears. Alam only. Swasteyayam, Swastyayanam, Swastyayanam, Yayanam. That means good fortune. Pavitram, perfectly pure. Labdhva haro, by obtaining haro, under the Supreme Lord. And then Bhaktim, devotional service, Upeti quits, Siddhim, perfection. So this subject to the departure of the sons of Pandu for ultimate goal of life, back to God, is fully auspicious and is perfectly pure. Therefore, anyone who hears this narration with devotional faith certainly gains the devotional service of the Lord, the highest perfection of life. This is known as Swargaroha. They went to the same body, not to the Swarga. They went to the abode of Lord. Without quitting the body, even Draupadi got Pandavas got because they are the eternal associates of Lord. So they attained the Dham Vaikuntha along with so Narayana, they got the wonderful abode. Okay. So Narayana, you only continue.
Yes, Mataji.
Jumur wants to read.
Yashadhaya. Huh?
Jumur wants to read.
Can you read? Mataji, she cannot read because she cannot bend down. She has to read at high level. She's sitting just next to me, Mataji. यः श्रद्धयैतद् भगवत्प्रियाणां पाण्डुसुतानाम् इति सम्प्रयाणाम् शृणोत्यलं स्वस्त्ययनं पवित्रं लब्ध्वा हरौ भक्तिमुपैति सिद्धिम्. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The subject of the departure of the sons of Pandu for the ultimate goal of life, back to Godhead, is fully auspicious and is perfectly pure. Therefore, anyone who hears this narration with devotional faith certainly gains the devotional service of the Lord, the highest perfection of life. Srimad Bhagavatam is a narration about the personality of Godhead and the devotees of the Lord, like Pandavas. The narration of the personality of Godhead and his devotees is absolute in itself, and thus to hear it with a devotional attitude is to associate with the Lord and constant companions of the Lord. By the process of hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, one can attain the highest perfection of life, namely going back home, back to Godhead without failure. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purports of the first canto, 15th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled The Pandavas Retire Timely. Hare Krishna.
So whoever hears this will attain pure devotional service. And that is a perfection of life. And that is how tomorrow is nice wonderful celebration. So I request those who stay near to Thane, they should come. Mira Road devotees, Vimla Mataji, sometimes you should come. And Kusum Mataji, though you are in Hargar, try to come. So tomorrow is the most auspicious day, Radhashtami. Await all the devotees wait for Radhashtami. Yes, Vasantani Prabhu, hope to see you tomorrow.
Hare Krishna
You have any
Mataji.
doubts? Yeah.
Hare Krishna Mataji. I have two small questions related to verse 1.15.49. Mataji, in that it said when Yamraj incarnated as Vidura. So during that time, Mataji, who took charge of Yamaloka?
They can manage everything.
Okay, so he was here
They have
also
the
in.
capacity. Yeah. They have the capacity to manage, even though they come as a Shudra, they have the capacity to manage.
Okay.
And for them, this is a small period, like staying here for 100 days, okay, seeing 100 lifetime, or sorry, 100 years. For as a Devaloka, for Devatas, it is a small fraction of second.
Correct.
The time duration is not 100 years. So Vidura must have stayed for maybe 150 years, whatever you say. But the time duration, according to the time calculation, for them it is just a small thing, like you're beating the child. You have cursed the child. Oh, you become this.
Okay.
That may be for a small fraction for Yamaraj, but it seems that you have stayed long time here, Vidura.
Okay.
And according to his calculation, it's only for a second.
Okay. Mataji, second question is, it said in the same verse, Pandavas were eternal associate of Supreme Lord with personal touch. Yamaraj also was eternal associate without personal touch. Mataji, how do we understand this personal touch thing?
Without personal touch means here, Yamaraj has been given a responsibility. So when you are given a responsibility, there Lord has nothing to interfere much. But Pandavas, they are completely with Lord. So wherever they go, wherever Krishna goes, Pandavas also go. So a lot of personal touch is there. Like you can say, sometimes the Guru gives a responsibility. Then, though it seems that Guru is not with the student, the Guru is there. His anugraha is there. Like the personal servants of Guru Maharaj. They always stay with Guru Maharaj. They always have
Okay.
personal touch.
Okay.
But there are
Okay.
certain devotees who follow the instructions. They don't have personal touch, but mercy is there.
Okay. Okay. Okay, Mataji. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
So our Nainu Manjari is going to sing something. Nainu.
Raghunath Das Goswami.
I am going to sing Raghunath Das Goswami's prayers to Radha Radhi.
Oh, Raghunath Das Goswami Stavavali. Sing.
Bhajami Radham Aravindanetram Smarami Radham Madhurasmitasyam Vadami Radham Karuna Bharadvam Tato Mamanyasti Gate Nakapi.
And over.
Yes, just one verse.
Okay. Very good. Hari bol. Pancha Galpatadubhashta.
Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah.
Anantakoti.
Shri
Prabhupada ki.
Radhashmi Mahamahotsav ki